G'day, Maddie. It's raining, so the background noise you can hear is rain on the roof. But I just wanted to take you through some of the things we dealt with over the weekend. So, if you remember about reading the grid references, they're the numbers that you were getting off the Fenix. Just going to reinforce that one. So, usually we use six-figure grid references. When you're using the Fenix, you actually get quite a lot more numbers. So you can actually use 4 numbers if you want to round up or down, which makes it just a little bit more accurate. Now, in the Facebook message I sent you, I said we were going to next time maybe camp at a place called 100 Man Cave. Now, it's at grid reference 405399. So the way we interpret that on the map is we look at the bottom numbers. So these are the numbers that go from left to right across the bottom of your map. And we call those eastings because they go from west to east. And they represent the numbers that depict the vertical lines. Sometimes get a bit confusing that they're called eastings and the lines go up and down the page, but it's because that's the way the numbers run. So 405, we look at 40, and then the 5 we have to estimate. So 405 will be right in the hey diddle diddle in the middle, okay? Or what you can do is you can use your handy dandy compass and see how there's a scale on there that says 1 in 25k. There's also 1 in 50k and 1 in 40k. The maps that we use are 1 in 25,000, so they're 1 in 25k. You can actually place that down onto the map and measure it really accurately. So we can see that 5 is right there. Okay, so that's the first number. And we always do the eastings first because, and the way to remember that is, we got to come across before we go up. Okay, I used a slightly different analogy, but young ears might hear this one. So, but you got to go across before you go up. So 405, and the other number was 399. So here's 39. We'll put our measuring device here, so we can see where the 9 is. 399, or we could just estimate it. But let's do it as accurately as we can. 399 is going to be here, right there. So that's cool. I'll just move that out the way. And we'll intersect the 405 with the 399. And that brings us... Oh, sorry about that. That brings us up to 405 399, which is just here, give or take. Okay, and that's where 100 Man Cave is going to be. So that's how you read a 6-figure grid reference. Moving on, let's have a look at shooting a bearing. Now, if I want to go from, let's say, Mount Cloudmaker to Rumble Knoll. Mount Cloudmaker to Rumble Knoll. There is a kind of track there, but let's say we're going to follow a compass bearing. What I do is I lay my compass with the arrow pointing in the direction that I want to travel onto the map, right over where I intend to walk. Then what I do is I turn the compass rose on the outside until the north points up to the north on the map. Another way of doing it is to line up these lines which run behind the compass with the eastings on the map. Okay, that can be a real trap for young players because sometimes when you turn the map around you inadvertently measure the wrong thing, and that can put you 90 or 180 degrees out of phase. So you always need to make sure that the north is pointing up on the compass rose. Now, then what you do is you can now look at the degrees here, and it's 279. Okay, or sorry, 278. Now remember that magnetic north and grid north are two different numbers, and what you need to do is subtract the variation, and in this case we've been using 11 degrees, which is not exact, but it's near enough for practical purposes, and that would make the bearing we need to follow not 278, but in fact 269. So we turn the compass to 269, and then, as you know, we turn the compass until the needle is over the red mark on the compass, and the way the compass is pointing, so the arrow above the little magnifying glass there, is the way we need to travel. Okay, so that's how we do that. Incidentally, if you're going from map to map, the magnetic variation is always shown on the back flap of the map. I'll just straighten that out. There, see, so you can see the actual grid to magnetic angle is 10.6 degrees, and you can read there that magnetic value is correct for 2010 and moves easterly by less than 0.01 degree per annum. So it would be, what's that, 7.07. It'd be 10.67 degrees now, which I've been rounding to 11 degrees for ease of the mathematics. And the way you remember to take it off the grid bearing that you shoot from the map is, I use the mnemonic Grandma's socks or Grandma's soap, one of the two. So that means from grid to magnetic you subtract. And if you were wanting to plot a bearing, a magnetic bearing onto the map, you'd actually add that value onto your magnetic bearing to be able to plot it on a map. But that'll be something that we do in a different lesson on doing what we call back bearings, but that's not for today. So if we can get those couple of things happening for you, and then put them into practice on our next trip, then we should be well and truly on our way to doing 3 peaks, fairly confident that we're not going to get geographically challenged. The way I like to do it is really keep each other accountable on the navigation, for us to work it out independently and then have a discussion about what we think, and don't be backwards in challenging each other if we think the other one's barking up the wrong tree. So I hope that's useful to you, mate. Cheers.